Hi YouTube, this is Raven again. In my last video I talked about the pitfalls of hiring the wrong lawyer. And when you hire the wrong lawyer for your divorce, it can cost you more than just money. Mine almost cost me my health, my sanity, my time, because I was being legally abused or death by paperwork. And I didn't realize that legal abuse even existed until I got into this divorce. But basically, legal abuse or death by paperwork is where the other side tries to keep you so busy scrambling for documents or requests, or they even accuse you of things that you have to then defend yourself against. You have to spend money and time, and they're hoping that it will cause you to just give up, or you'll run out of money and you'll give up and they'll win. And my narc, I think, hired a narcissist lawyer. And of course, the legal abuse started very, very quickly. I thought that I had hired an experienced lawyer. He had 30 years experience, but then as soon as I hired him, he handed the divorce case over to his associate, who had only been practicing law for about 6 months. She was very naive and very inexperienced. And I think she assumed whenever the other side made a request or they accused me of something, she assumed they were telling the truth. And so I found myself having to defend myself to my lawyer first before she would defend me towards them. And the first red flag that I should have noticed was that my husband demanded that I sign a free trader agreement. And a free trader agreement is basically an agreement between the two parties who are getting a divorce, saying that, I can buy stuff, you can buy stuff, and we won't try to take each other's stuff. Like he could go and buy a boat, a house, a condo, an airplane, submarine, whatever, and I wouldn't have any claim on it. But, I could do the same thing. Well, what he wanted to do was to buy a $125,000 condo. Well, his parents eventually bought it for him because I wouldn't sign the free trader agreement. And the reason I wouldn't sign it is that he had not lifted a finger to help me and the children move, and he had not given any money to help the children and I move, and we had no place to go. I had no money to rent a place, I had no money to buy a place. He had all the money. So the children and I were forced to move into my grandmother's old farmhouse. She's been dead for about 20 years, and my parents said, we could come live here. And my husband, douchebag, said, I'm homeless, I'm homeless. And I said, no, the children and I were homeless, and you didn't care. I'm homeless, I'm homeless. And he wasn't homeless. He had actually been given almost the entire summer off because he had been suicidal. And his boss had given him that time to heal. So he was going from one house to another of his relatives, and all of his relatives have money. And he was either staying at his sister's house or his parents' resort home or his aunt's multi-million-dollar mansion or her multi-million-dollar lake house, which should be called a mansion. And he was posting on Facebook before I blocked him about all the things he was doing. He was sitting in the hot tub, smoking cigars all day, water skiing, drinking scotch, whiskey, whatever, while the children and I are struggling to make ends meet. So I said, there's no way in hell that I'm signing this free trader agreement. Well, since I wouldn't do that, he used his lawyer to bully my lawyer. And his lawyer would send my lawyer multiple emails every day, multiple phone calls, telling her that I needed to come sign that free trader agreement. And, she calls me up like, it's so annoying that I keep getting these phone calls and these emails. You need to come sign this thing. And I told her, no, I'm not signing it. So then the narc started calling me multiple times, telling me, you need to go sign that free trader agreement. If you go sign it, I will write you 2 checks for $500 a piece. And I said, I'll be glad to sign it. When hell freezes over, I will sign that for you. Well, they changed tactics at that point, and they decided to go a different route, and they accused me of suppressing my income. He was saying that if I just worked more hours per week, I would not be the dependent spouse, and then therefore he would not have to pay alimony. And so then I had to produce multiple paycheck stubs. Almost every week I was having to provide paycheck stubs because I think he thought that magically money would appear in my paycheck stub. And in reality, I was working overtime trying to make ends meet. I actually have 2 jobs. I work for the Army Reserves and I work for my company typing. So when that tactic didn't work, they tried to accuse me of not actually being in nursing school. And my lawyer calls me up, Raven, They say you're not in nursing school. So are you really in nursing school? So then I had to go to college, and I had to take time off to go to college, get a letter to show that, yes, I'm in nursing school, get my transcript that shows, that I had a 4.0 GPA despite all of this nonsense, and a class schedule, that showed down to every hour of where I was during the day and what I was doing. So when that didn't work, they tried to claim that I was getting thousands of dollars a month from the GI Bill. So I had to prove to them that, no, I'm not getting thousands of dollars from the GI Bill. I'm not using my GI Bill because I'm saving it, because right now I'm only doing a 2-year associate degree. I want to save it for when I go back to get my bachelor's of science in nursing, because that's going to cost a whole lot more. So when that didn't work, he tried to claim that he made $20,000 less a year than he actually did. And he put it on his affidavit, and my lawyer said, well, it's right there in black and white. He makes this amount of money per year. And I said, no, he's lying about it. And I think she naively assumed that that everyone tells the truth when they file an affidavit, and that's not true. So I had to drive an hour to my accountant's office, pick up the tax returns, drive an hour back, drop them off, and I said, here, you can see what he made last year. And she said, well, yeah, but you don't know what he made this year. It was frustrating. So, then they were trying to claim that I was getting welfare, wasn't getting welfare, had to prove that I wasn't getting that. And then in January, I get a text from him, early January. Please provide me with the children's social security numbers. Why do you want their social security numbers? I need their social security numbers to give to the health insurance company so they can continue to receive health insurance this year. The health insurance company already has their social security numbers. We haven't changed companies. Why did they need them again? Please provide me with the information that I've requested ASAP. No. Well, because I didn't do this, he unleashed his lawyer again on my lawyer. Same thing, multiple emails, multiple phone calls. She calls me up. Will you please give him the social security numbers? I hate having to answer the phone multiple times a day. I wanted to say, can't you just ignore his phone calls like you do mine? I mean, I call and, you don't answer for days or, not at all. And I told her the reason he wants the social security numbers has nothing to do with the insurance. He wants to file income taxes and claim the children on income taxes. And I've been told by my tax attorney, or not tax attorney, but my tax accountant, that I can claim both of the children, especially since he is not paying alimony, he's not paying all the child support, I'm in school full-time, I'm working full-time, I can get the earned income tax credit, which will help pay for a lot of things that he's not paying for. Just give him the social security numbers. So then when I wouldn't do that, they filed discovery. And in discovery they had 40 different questions that they asked, ranging from, they wanted every receipt that I'd spent on everything, from gas to food to pet food to clothes to a pack of gum for the past 3 years. And no one keeps those kind of receipts. They asked all kinds of things about my personal life that they wanted answered, and it was going to be a stack of paper about this tall. And, very time consuming. We're talking hours and hours and hours coming up with financial documents. But they also wanted me to catalog all of my artwork. I'm an artist. Catalog all of my artwork and have it appraised, because they'd come up with this idea, if she just sells her art, she'll be a millionaire. She doesn't need to have alimony or child support. And I was like, oh my God, you're right. If I sell all my artwork, I could be a millionaire. I mean, I'd never thought of this. I can draw things that look real, and people will pay money for that. Oh, good grief. Bear in mind that Van Gogh never sold a painting his entire life. So, and then the next unreasonable request they made is they wanted every private message that I'd sent on Facebook for an entire year. And I said, this is an invasion of privacy of my friends. I mean, when you send a private message to your friend on Facebook, you don't assume that it's going to show up in court documents or, be entered as evidence in a trial. And so I told him, you're going to have to subpoena Facebook if you want this. And, my lawyer thought I was being unreasonable at this point. And so at this point, I fired her. I said, you're not representing me. You're not representing my children's interests. You're fired. And I hired a new lawyer. And when I showed him the discovery requests, I love what he said. He said, "Fuck them. We'll answer them when we're good and ready." So, if you're going through a divorce from a narc, you need to be prepared that it's going to get down and dirty. And the person that you divorce is not the person you marry. And they're not going to treat you like, they love you like you were the love of their life. They're going to treat you like an enemy. And you need to decide what is an acceptable outcome. Do you want justice, or do you just want your freedom? Do you just want it to be over with? Because I can say that because of the legal abuse, I had health problems. My heart raced constantly anytime I saw an email from my lawyer because I knew it was bad news. My blood pressure was 150/90. I had nightmares. I was depressed. My stomach hurt. I was getting sick all the time. And, it was because of the abuse. And, I have a form of PTSD because of this. I have to change the ringtone on my phone because I got used to, when I heard a certain ringtone, that, it was my lawyer calling and it was bad news. Same with text, because if douchebag was texting me, I heard that text and it caused me to jump. So you have to decide, what you're willing to go through. Is it worth it? I can't tell you whether it's worth it or not because I don't know your circumstance. And I can't tell you what to do. But what I can tell you is, if you are going through a divorce from a narc or an abusive person, it's going to get dirty. It's going to get difficult. And you have to decide what is an acceptable outcome. What does victory look like? All right. That's all for now. Be vigilant. Be safe. Take care.